So I'm Rob Jacoby. I'm a member of the Historical Society here in Stillwater. What we have here is the Academy building, built in 1842, the original section. We celebrated the 175th anniversary a couple years ago. This addition was built in the early 1950s. This is the headquarters of the Historical Society of Stillwater Township, our museum, and our meeting area. We have a genealogy research room upstairs. Come on, I'll show you about that. Part of our collection are these old voting boxes. Ballots were put in here. This one is from Stillwater. I think they're both from Stillwater. Probably from the late 19th century, early 20th century.
How do you vote? I mean, if I voted, what do I...
You put it in the slot here and the slot here.
So those are two different types?
Two different types, yeah.
We have an original ballot underneath the...
I found an old photo
Before Woodrow.
of a guy named Emmaus Emmons.
You could move it if you want, but Woodrow Wilson was our only New Jersey resident that was president. Did you know that?
Yes.
I just saw you open.
President of Princeton?
Is that where he was from, Princeton?
Yeah.
Can you take my mask off?
We're not open.
Her son is very knowledgeable. He's very involved in the gristmill. Where is he?
Yeah, where is it? Oh, you know what? He's upstairs.
So is that FDR's wheelchair?
I don't think so. But it's a local resident.
And these chairs look like the same chairs that were put into Franklin school system in the auditorium in the 1915.
Those chairs belong to Stillwater Township. They were in the council chambers. We had every bi-monthly meetings.
So you're going to roll it up. It goes up to speed of 80. And that's what this is. This is called a reproducer. So we're going to move it up. See how it goes up and down? So you're going to slide it. You get ready to drop it. Drop the needle down.
Now, what is that item that's there? What is this called?
So that is a disc, and it's very fragile. I forgot the material that's made out of, but it will literally shatter.
Is that called a record?
Best way to describe it, it's an early record.
Okay.
Earlier than, the 33s and the 48s and 78s and the classic vinyls, as I say. Of course, these are the needles.
Is there anything on the other side? The B side?
Yeah. Oh, it's a double side, as they say.
Okay.
So let's just show you real quick what it looks like. So you have the Memories of the South, and then you have NOLA Foxtrot. So let's see what NOLA Foxtrot is.
Foxtrot.
Now, just in case you get bored with that, underneath, look at these beautiful records. We got tons of them.
Nice.
Of course, they were all labeled. The person that owned this had them labeled. So let's move. This is called a reproducer. You slide it, you drop the needle down, and when you're ready, you turn it on. It'll take a while to speed up to get up to the 80. And there you go. See how it catches up? And that's it.
Very nice. We can watch your Little Rascals.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What's that picture of over there?
So this is the gristmill. This was hung up in the Lakeland Bank, which is unfortunately defunct right now. It's closed. This was hanging in the lobby when you get into the Lakeland Bank. The picture over here, though, this was hanging behind the manager of the Lakeland Bank. This is the Middleville gristmill, or the Middleville General Store. The gentlemen in it are all named here. You have Betts, Mr. Robbins, who actually owned the store, Mr. Huff, and Mr. Smith. So of course, not to cut you off there, but the one standing, he's the owner. And most of the stuff you see here, if you look behind you, there's stuff by Robbins. And that's his son, Donald. He took it over after Mr. Victor. Yeah,
Okay, and by the
copper.
way, that potbelly stove looks a lot like
That one.
that one.
So, cabinet.
Okay,
So, of course, when you go upstairs, you'll see another hole. It would actually be upstairs. This was upstairs. They actually used the fireplace. So this was originally an academy.
when was this built?
So this is like 18, what do you think, Ma, 1830s? For the building. 1840.
1840s.
So-
What's that over there?
Oh, this green thing? This is your first, this would do everything. This would heat your house, this would cook, there's all the implements you need. Here's your stove, cast iron stuff. So this is so a lot of this stuff is circa 1800s, maybe even older.
So you can make some biscuits there.
Oh, you can make some beautiful biscuits. Of course, there's ways of heating it. This one came from Newton, of course, which is kind of cool because it's local. And here, you can store fire, do all that stuff. More stuff for you. You can take out. Of course, there's plates, all kinds of stuff. This one came from Newton. This is a pretty nice one.
Very nice.
Very, very nice cast. Old ice box.
Sorry.
No worries.
So icebox, how's that work?
So, of course, you know, they would bring ice from the ponds and they would have to store it. So this was one of the first ice boxes. And you would put the ice either right here or right here, wherever you can put it, and then literally put it in. This was made in Grand Rapids, New York, or Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Give or take, I forget what year this one was.
Very good.
Yep. Oh, by the way, you look at it, this is not plastic. This is all porcelain. Everything you see inside is porcelain.
Porcelain. Huh,
Yeah, this
okay.
is all porcelain. It helps with the cold. Of course, steel or tin. Porcelain is really good.
All right. Very good. Yeah. Tin, maybe galvanized. And this is, those are items, dry goods, I would suspect that they
Oh,
are.
yeah, all dry goods. Like you said before, and
Aren't these spittoons down in the front?
oh yeah, so,
What would you do with a spittoon?
come on. You already know what you would do with it.
Okay. Oh yeah, there it is. Says it. Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
So, once again, this was a picture during the 70s. So that's Donald A. Robbins, and that's Mr. Victor Robbins. That was the picture you saw earlier.
Very nice.
This was taken in the 70s. This is
Very
the
nice.
postcard.
Very nice.
Like I said before, I have that potbelly stove refurbished in it. And it's going to be going upstairs. So
Okay.
it belongs to not us. This is the building you're in right now.
Okay.
This is a postcard.
And that was
Shows-
an academy.
was the academy originally.
Okay.
So that first door you just walked in, it goes right there.
Okay.
The addition came into 1954. And like I said, the floor that you're standing on is the original floor, as well as it's actually sitting on the ground. There is no subfloor, nothing.
Okay. Good. What is that thing for?
Oh, come on, that wrings out your clothes. I got tons of them. I like that one because it's kind of pristine, meaning it has all the markings, it actually works, it's still functional. The stuff they make now, unfortunately, is not what they made later on, you know what I mean? I have tons of those, I'll show you more upstairs.
And now what would that be used for?
So that is the smaller version of your mailbox.
Okay, so the person who was the postal appointed
Postmaster,
person
Yep.
would have something like that there.
If not bigger, and I have more upstairs to show you.
Okay.
I have a bigger, actually I have two of them. But yeah, so that one. Here, I'm gonna read you something. So this table that you're seeing is from 1738. It came from 4 generations. It was originally from Hardwick Township, which then Stillwater came from Hardwick. This table was used in a house which was built in 1850. So if you notice the construction of this table, it's kind of cool. Look how wide these planks are. And the nails are just square nails. So it's a pretty cool table. As well as not just being old, It is just, I mean, look at this one plank. I mean, this plank is, look how wide that is. You can't get that from Home Depot or Lowe's. You would think that that's a seam, but no, that's just a crack, and it actually works its way all the way down. So that's 1 board, 2 board, and then they cut a little guy. Construction like that nowadays, it never happens. So yeah, we sold this table, and I had to bring that out of storage. This thing is amazing. Either, nurses or CDC people, civil defense people.
Civil defense.
Yep.
What would you use civil defense for?
Think about it, it's all domestic. Later on...
Okay, so we're on the second floor, and we walked up the stairs, and they have a sort of like a stage here, and then in front of it you've got a bunch of seats.
Oh yeah. So some are original to Stillwater School when it was here, and then some were actually donated from the church.
What are the round holes on the top?
So what you see here on top of the teacher's desk, of course this is a square one, you would be able to put your ink. You can put them in here. Unfortunately, you can't put a square in a round hole,
Well, you must have gone to school then. You know that.
I remember going as a kid and I've seen these.
Okay. A lot of times they're bolted down to the floor, so you can't move them.
Oh, come on, nowadays, yeah, you can move everything.
And a nice old bench.
So that bench was originally part of the library girls. So after the academy was defunct or closed down, it was then turned over to a chapter of American Revolutionary Sons. They were kind of people that reenacted American Revolutionary stuff, wars. After that, it went to Stillwater Historical Society, also known as the Library Girls. So the books you see here, a lot of them are either first gens, like you see the Wizard of Oz, they're all first gens. Some really, really good first editions of books. So they were the Library Girls. So this was the local library. So they had a bunch of women or females or girls, older age, but they were the librarians. So a lot of the stuff you see here is from that section. So
Genealogy section, okay.
yeah, any type of research you want to know about either your family or about the region or about a house. Maybe you want a house. There's a gentleman that owns Montague Tool and Supply. He just bought Van Horn's property. That house is older than the Revolutionary War. It's one of either 2 or 3 houses that is just filled with history. It even has a family plot cemetery. It has an ice cave on it. The amount of history is amazing. Well, the man never knew about it until he came here one day and we showed him off.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember?
So he lived in the house and he didn't realize the historical values that
because
were there.
one day he saw a tombstone that was sitting in a barn and he had no clue what it was all about. And I said, well, somebody probably knocked it down mowing and didn't want to know how to, didn't know anything about it. So they put it in the barn. Remember that thing I showed you earlier? This is also a part of it.
Okay.
See how much bigger it is?
Yeah. All right, let me get this started. So we're in the other room, and this room here has quite a collection of items. And we're upstairs here in the Stillwater section. And let's see, there's an old trunk. And there's a lot of old clothes that are here as well.
Oh yeah. So what you see right now is either donated or people that were past members have also donated as well. This beautiful glass cabinet here, or case, fills either with wedding dresses, Sunday dresses, dresses for any kind of occasions. Of course, every single one was either worn by a member or donated from a Stillwater resident. So this part that you're in, like I said before, 1954 was an addition. Some of the stuff that you see comes from a collection named Herman Beagle. He was a big, I hate to use the word hoarder, but he collected as much stuff as he possibly can.
I know where you're coming.
So if you look here, this is one of our new additions. 1860, Mr. Hopkins came out with this beautiful map. It has family names on it. It has everything. I was able to rescue it from the Swartzwood Fire Department because they had it stuck between 2 other posters.
Ooh.
When I found it, it was getting wet. So unfortunately, we had to get it. So me and my friend Mike, we were able to build a beautiful frame, get the glass done, hang it up. It's one of my favorite parts of the museum that we've been at in the last 2 years.
That's great. Great job.
A lot
Great
of
job.
the uniforms that you notice are all servicemen. I'm a big military guy. I like supporting the military. So Mr. Earl, who just passed away last October, that's his Air Force stuff. Of course, we have a couple corporals, a couple sergeants.
That looks like General Black Jack Pershing over there on the right.
Yeah, so that is, so if you look at that photo, this photo and that, it matches because that is in Seagirt. Seagirt's also the home of New Jersey State Police, also the NJDOC. I'm actually a graduate from Seagirt. I love that place.
Great.
A lot of stuff you also see is World War I, World War II.
There's a sword.
So I have actually a couple swords displayed. We had them hidden. So this is a saber from 1850s. A couple other ones are also pre-Civil War. Up here is your U.S. Cavalry. If you notice, this gun also belongs here. This was part of, yes, so he was a captain. His name is Captain Daniel Griggs. He was a captain in the Civil War. When he died, his son was able to get both his sword as well as his gun. Swords up there were all either pre-1860s or even World War I. The bottom on the bottom is actually a German one from World War I.
Okay. Looks like an Enfield in there.
Yeah, so a lot of other stuff that Mr. Beagle were able to collect is a lot of Civil War, World War I, Spanish-American War stuff. So he was just a collector, and he had everything. And I'm so appreciative he did this. Because here's some medals that unfortunately have fallen off, some of this stuff, so I had to keep it. But
There's some Civil War kepis,
oh yeah,
hats.
do you also notice the
saddlebag.
saddlebags and stuff, some of the hats?
Very nice.
So Stillwater is really big on farming, as well as a couple other cool adventures. It used to be called the Whiskey Boys. There was a group called the Whiskey Boys. That was a group, a military group. So what you see here is the Patriots, Order Sons of America. That was the group that took over after the Academy. After the Academy closed down, this group took it over. From there it became the library.
So bees and beekeeping.
Oh yeah, so we have that. Some farmers here are still doing bees, are still growing the honey, still doing all that. You know, Stillwater back in the 1800s also was big apples. We had big peaches, apples, all kinds of stuff.
Very good. Very good. And then here's some wheels
Yep.
that are used to sharpen knives, I guess.
Of course, two different types. I actually think there's more than that to sharpen knives, but this is the earlier one with the metal brackets. Of course, that is the later one.
And snow shoes and
Oh, yeah.
skis.
So, of course, what can a farmer or people that are really don't have the internet, don't have anything, what are they going to do in the wintertime? Well, they sled. We also have sleigh bells over here. You know, because you want to put them on horses, you want to be able to hear them. So,
What's that across the street that we could see?
this white building?
Yeah.
So that's the church. If you notice the section that has the green, very tall windows, or green shutters and tall windows, that's the earlier section. So I don't know, sorry, unfortunately I don't know the dates, but that is one of the first churches ever built in Stillwater. The original one was built by a cemetery. Unfortunately, that was burned down. That was called a Dutch Reformed Church.
Is this the Presbyterian?
Unfortunately, that closed this past April.
Oh.
Well, the April before, actually. So
Okay.
Native Americans were big. Oh, here, all this
Drill
stuff.
press.
Oh,
A
blacksmith.
lathe.
So a local blacksmith that was in
Clamp.
Louisville, he was a Civil War guy. And a lot of this stuff was donated. We had a lot of blacksmiths, we had a lot of, during the 1800s, that's what's, you know, they were self-guided people, whatever they needed.
Self-reliant.
Oh yeah, they
And
needed
was he in the first New Jersey Cav or
Probably.
volunteers?
He was actually one of the oldest as well. And Mr. Garris, he was one of the longest running post office and general store people, as well as a Civil War guy.
Huh.
Yep.
Very good.
Remember that whole apple thing that we were talking about?
Yeah.
We also have the buttermilk, apple butter, as well as the fruit. I forgot to show you that.
Okay, so there's the press, the apple press, and then there's a butter churn
Yep.
and a churner for it.
Yep.
And then what is this item in here?
Oh, the large one?
Yeah.
So a lot of these are farm implements. They either hay hooks or like this would be considered a hay hook. This is an original plow. This is a plow as well. This would go behind it. Of course, we set it up to have this. Of course, is not original. This would attach to this, but also if you notice down here, that would go into the ground. So this is not original to all this. We just made the bracket to hold it, so you can actually see how it functions. This would either attach to the horse or mule, whatever animal you had at the time.
Well, this shows the evolution of farming technology in the 1800s. This is wooden, and believe it is, somebody made a plow, a metal plow. Also with this hay fork, which opens up, grabs hay, takes it upstairs. Those two inventions are patented in the U.S. Patent Office. And there's a Deckertown plow, and then the hay fork from Newton.
And that one actually did come from Newton. Now, if you see this, see how this is attached? This would actually go into the ground. This is actually stationed here. We have an extra one so you can actually show it to people.
Right, great.
And like I said, we built this so it wouldn't be sitting, and God forbid it's on the floor.
That's great.
A lot of these are little just farm implements. But that's why we kind of put them together. They all belong.
And were there Indians around here?
Oh, 100%. 100%. We actually have one of the largest encampments right next to Swartzwood Lake. Of course you have Moody's Rock and stuff like that. But if you come look at the map, this map was from 1915. It was a study. This is where Stillwater Township is. Of course, we covered some of the arrows and other triangles. But if you look at Swartzwood Lake, so everything here is all your Indian encampments. Have you ever heard of Flatbrookville?
Yes.
Well, there's a section called Fiddler's Elbow. That's still technically being called an Indian road. Casper Schaefer, who's, if not the founder of Stillwater, he would take the Flatbrook and use that to transport grain. So after a while, he was just getting, it was just awful. So that's why he built a grist mill. You know what that is, right?
It's the New York Herald.
Well, you know why we saved it, right?
How come?
Abe Lincoln. The death of Abe Lincoln. This is the announcement of the president. Abe Lincoln, so this was donated to her, of course. So there you go.
All right.
Yep.
Now, got sleds up there.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
nice.
sleds. Yep. Now in here, like I said before, Herman Beagle was a big collector, so all these rocks have come from Stillwater. If I had the black light, which I do, but it's very small and it won't work on a camera, you can actually see all the fluorescence and